Hey, this is Barry, and welcome to my long overdue game room video. I was holding off on doing this largely because there were a few things I still wanted to do to the room. Like, for example, the floor needs replacing. It looks like shit. Also, there is, most exciting of all, I can get gas in here. See? So if you have any gas-powered video game consoles, I guess I'm set. But, and then there's a wall behind me that's unpainted and I want to do something with. But, that's not what we're here for. We're here for the games. So, let's start over here, actually. There's a little bit wall. And so, yeah, as you can see, this is what the room used to be colored, like a piss yellow. Isn't that nice? But I went with a manly dark blue. And then to just totally ruin the entire manliness of it all, I have this Sonic 3 Happy Meal display, and got this off eBay a while back. It's cool. I like it. Down here we have the Dreamcast Collection vinyl that's from Sega Europe, and then we have an autographed picture from Mike Pollock. He was giving these away for free on his website, maybe for $1, I forgot. Sega Toys Wappy Puppy, which has its own DS game that he interacts with, and a Phantasy Star Online postcard. And then down here we have, I didn't know where to put these, Saturn Racing Wheel, my Game Gear collection, lots of games in there and stuff. Maybe I'll go through them for this video, maybe for its own video. There's so much to look at. And then down here we just have various bits and bobs. We have the Gear Tote, which is like a Game Gear holder, and there's a bunch of games in there. And then here's all my arcade sticks. So we've got the Genesis one, the NES one, the Dreamcast one, the Saturn one beneath that, and then the Xbox 360 one. I'm too lazy to take all those out. So let's go back over here, swish pan. Whoosh. And so over here we have, where should we start? Well, we've got the Sonic Mania poster, as you can see. And then the accompaniment to the Sonic 3 Happy Meal display, we have the kid's toy, and then the Tails ball, which was the Canadian replacement for the Tails toy that was recalled in the U.S. And I know people are like, oh, they recalled it, they pulled it from stores. I don't know if that's the case. I feel like the Happy Meal was kind of already out, and by the time there were complaints, they already moved on to the next toys, and they just didn't release it to other regions, which is why Canada got the Tails ball, and then the UK got their own Tails toy. And then here's the bag. And then down here we have my Sega Pico, which I actually really like the Pico. I won't say anything mean about that. This piece of shit, though, no. The NES, I got this, and I got about maybe 20 boxed games in a garage sale for about $25, and then on top of that, my grandpa got an NES and more boxed games in a garage sale, and he gave me all those recently. So let's just see, I don't know how much he spent, but let's say it was like $50 between us. Let's see what we got. So, Castle Quest, Caveman Games. You can see them all here. I don't need to read them all out. I'd say out of all of these, though, this is probably my favorite game, Heavy Barrel. I played the arcade version recently at Galloping Ghost, and while I really liked it, I'm so used to the NES version, and I love this version. So, definitely play that however you can. And oh, and then we got the Metroid, and I don't really know much about rarities, but I think this is the rarer one, or the more expensive one. So, I guess this is supposed to be a good game. No, I'm just trolling. Down here, got a few more. I've heard these are good games, so I got both of these in that garage sale find. And that Metroid. I remember getting those 3 at least, and then maybe about 10 other games. And then a bunch of loose cartridges down here. I'm not going to go through all of them. Three Stooges, I actually really like this game. I know the Angry Video Game Nerd videos called it shit, even out of character. But if you actually learn the rules, it's a really fun little party game. And what else is in here? Willow. Kind of funny Ron Howard's directing Han Solo now, and we got... Where's our Han Solo game? That's my question. Bah. Moving on. So up here... Oh, these are all my Master System through Saturn games. And so starting at the top, we have my Master System stuff. I got into collecting Master System probably about... I'd say about 4 years ago. I got a Master System at the Too Many Games convention for, I think, like $50. And then I just started looking for games. And it's funny because, you know, you go to stores and they just didn't have them, or they were sitting in the back on the floor unpriced. And so I got a lot of these for cheap. Like, I feel like most of them, like most of the common, the uncommon ones I got for... like $1 to $5. Some of the RPGs, like you can see Golvelius here. What else? There's some down at the end. I got for maybe $10. Some of these I got off eBay. Like I had to import. I think I imported this one. And then the 2 Sonic games I imported as well. But I would say... Oh, and then this one I got... before everyone started realizing Master System games were awesome. I got this for, I think, $10 as well at a used game store. And I'd say my best find out of my entire collection here was probably, this is it, Rambo First Blood Part 2. And you might say, oh, that's a common game. But actually, this is the ultra rare Blue Label release, and these were released late into the Master System's run. They are very hard to come by, especially complete like this. Racket Boy had an article on the rarest games. I think this was listed. I know Outrun was listed. I also actually got that from the same store for $10. These were both $10 each, and Racket Boy lists this one and this one as some of the rarest and most expensive U.S. Master System games. This one didn't come with the manual, but does come with the case and cartridge. But I don't know why. Like, you know, I think it's one of those things where they're rare to people, rare and expensive to people who want them, but they're not hard to find in the sense that these are variants. So they're rare variants. I don't know what the price is on this one. I've seen anywhere from $150 to $200 to $300. Who knows? It's kind of one of those things where if someone wants it and they're willing to throw money at you, it's worth what they're throwing at you. R-Type 2, that's an awesome game. And then speaking of Sylvester Stallone, we have the Rocky action figure here. I wish they'd make more of these. They always do NES ones. They never show Sega fans any love. Moving on to my Genesis stuff. Genesis was my first Sega console. A lot of these games I had as a kid. I'll point out some of my favorite ones from my childhood, but I'd say a good maybe half of these I've had from when they were new. And I haven't really been buying new ones just because I feel like it's so easy now to emulate stuff that I'd rather just spend my money on one of those flashcard carts things. But anyway, so some of my favorite games from my childhood: Aladdin. I love this game. Castle of Illusion. I don't know when I got this exactly, but I mean, I've always enjoyed that one. Cool Spot is one of my favorite licensed games. It's just the animation, the gameplay. It's cool. Dick Tracy. Now the Genesis, you know, again going back to Angry Video Game Nerd, these were the 2 games he was always like, oh, it's fucking shit, and it is on the NES. But on the Genesis, these games are awesome. So this one was developed by members, oh god, I'm blanking, but the guys who work on Shinobi. So it plays like Shinobi. You can see here, there's the little Shinobi bonus stage. You walk around, you shoot. Now what's cool is the background layer is actually accessible as well. So you machine gun the background like a shooting gallery, and then you shoot people in the foreground. This is a great game. I definitely recommend it. And then Gamebusters. Well, I'll get to that. So Ghostbusters, this is an awesome one. It's from the developers of the Puyo Puyo games. And I don't know, I kind of get that vibe too. Like, they look a little like the characters from those games. I don't know. But it's big head, little body, awesome platforming, very variable difficulty. It's one of those games, though, where Game Genie really helps. And what I find funny about this, pardon my... God, this is hard to do with one hand. That's what she said. What's so funny about this is, so here's Ghostbusters, and I bought it at a used game store called, can you see it here? Gamebusters. So I got Ghostbusters at Gamebusters for $24.99. And I got this pretty new. Like, this game was probably out for a year. So this is a new used release that I bought. Probably one of the first used games, I think. Because it was weird. I was like, oh, someone else owned it, and now I own it. This one sucks. No, wait. Yeah, this. I don't know if this one sucks. What am I thinking of? Oh, Tailspin. Where's that? That's over there. Tailspin, it sucks, but I like it. But we'll get to that. So, moving along. This is probably one of the most... I keep saying it's underrated, but maybe it's rated just right. But it's one of the best platformers on the Genesis, outside of those Sonic games. The plunger mechanic is really cool. It's one of the most unique, like, weapons I've seen in a video game. The designer of Knuckles worked on the game. Was he director? I don't remember off the top of my head. We have a few kind of like, well, this is a fan-made game, Pure Solar RPG, very great game. And then we have, this looks like it's an import. This is actually, I printed this case out because inside is a repro of Rent-A-Hero, but it's in English. And I'm not big into repros just because, like, I don't know, like, you know, it's not official. And I don't know, it's like, burning a disc is one thing, but paying $40 to $50 for that, you know, a cartridge is another thing. But I would say this one's definitely worth it. And the, what is it, Monster World 4? Anyway. So, moving along, obviously the Sonic games. Don't really have to say much about those. I got this not too long ago. Just because it was at the store and it was a decent price, $11, and I think they had a sale going on. Space Harrier 2, not as good as the first one, but if you've played the first one to death, it's fun to give this one a try. And it was a Mega Drive launch game. Toy Story, that's a good game. And then this is probably the game I played the most in my childhood. I prefer this one to the SNES one, mainly because I'm so used to the gameplay style. I think this one has a run button and the other one doesn't. And I don't like the gimmick of throwing characters at the screen. Like, I like the SNES. I've, haven't played it too much as a kid, but I feel like the scaling graphics thing is just kind of overplayed. Like, they put it into way too many games to the point where you're like, oh, cool, they're throwing stuff at the screen again. Anyway, moving on to the 32X. Underrated console or add-on, whatever. Not worth getting at the time. I don't even think I was aware of it at the time. Sega was kind of stretching themselves thin. Like, there was a point where all of this stuff was available in some region or another. Like, South America had these well into the 90s and maybe even early 2000s. These were all over the place. You could get 32X games, Sega CD games, and Saturn games. So it's like, imagine, like, now it's even, crazy to think that there are Wii U games. Are there? And Switch games? I don't know. But 32X, if you know what to look for, it's a good add-on. There's great arcade titles like Afterburner, Space Harrier, which I have, right here, and Virtua Racing, Star Wars Arcade. So you get some really great arcade perfect ports. Now, you can get some of those nowadays on newer consoles, but think back then, like, having a home version of Space Harrier that was just like the arcade, that was really cool. There's also some unique titles like Colibri, which is a I guess like a shmup, but like a free moving shmup, and it's got a little Echo the Dolphin to it. Metalhead, which was actually directed by Sega staff. Look it up. This is a Sega game. It's a Sega IP, which is surprising because it doesn't look like it. Doom's good. This version not as good as the other ones, but still. Shadow Squadron, I always like this one just for the graphics. It really shows off what the 32X was capable of. Tempo is probably one of the prettiest games you're going to play on the console. It's just the colors were insane. The sound was insane. And then, of course, Knuckles Chowtix, or Chaotix, as Americans say. And then, the digital pictures titles. These are interesting, but I'd say these are the best versions. Night Trap's probably the best of the three, in my opinion. And then for the Sega CD, I feel like it's an underrated add-on. But again, you have to know what to look for. But as you can see here, there's some pretty solid titles. There's a lot of really bad ones, like Bouncers. There's some of these games, like my thing with game collecting is I'm not a completionist. I like to buy games for franchises that I love. I like to buy games that show off the console's capabilities, and I like to get games that are like the best of their genre. And obviously, I can't afford some of these ones, like Snatcher. I don't have Snatcher. I've played it though all the way through on an emulator, and it's an awesome game. I don't own it, but if I can get a game, like you look here, there's some I don't think there's that much bad stuff here. Now, if you were going to look at a wall and it was every single title from every single one of these, you're going to see a lot of trash. And to be honest, I don't have the money for trash. Having said that, Bouncers. But, no, and, like some games like Cliffhanger, you'd think, why would you want to own that? But there's a really great snowboarding segment in that. Same with Batman Returns. There's a really cool driving segment in that. Double Switch. Good game. I mean, what am I going to say about that? Now, there's some weird ones here. So, there's 2 Dracula games. And this one, people don't talk about a lot, and for good reason. No, moving on. The Echo titles, I prefer them on the Sega CD, Eternal Champions. This is the sequel. I don't have the original, do I? Now, this is a weird release. So, if I can get these. All right. Frankenstein. This was only released in a double pack with Dracula, which you see I already have Dracula. And Dracula's a bad game. Frankenstein, I'd say it's a good game. It's a solid 6. Which, now in today's terms, is the worst game ever made. But in my opinion, a solid 6 is very good. And what it is it's part point-and-click adventure, part fighting game. So when you encounter enemies, you actually do like a weird, like almost like Mortal Kombat style fight. But then you collect items, you go around, and you can kind of find ways around fights too. Like if you, like you can, at one point you like knock someone out with chloroform or something instead of fighting them. So there's kind of, you get these little options. You can either, do Frankenstein Mortal Kombat or not. Hook, it's a pretty solid platformer. It's one of those games kind of like Ghostbusters, where you're kind of expecting a bad Western developed license title, and then you get this crazy Japanese developed game that doesn't have too much to do with the franchise, but it's just a solid game all around. Mickey Mania, again, it's one of those things where it's a re-release from the Genesis, but it's a solid title. And Rise of the Dragon's a good poor man's Snatcher. It's still really cheap. I actually, when I first bought it, the disc was bad. I bought it 3 more times until I got a solid working disc. Sonic CD, I mean, you kind of just need to own this if you have a Sega CD. And then Wild Woody, of course. One of the best games ever made starring a pencil. Down here we have some oddities. especially this one. So this is rock paintings, and you're like, what the hell is that? These showed off the CD plus G technology that was in the Sega CD and other other pieces of hardware at the time, especially karaoke machines. That's how they kind of operated. So it's not unique to the Sega CD. I actually have some other CD plus G pieces of hardware that plays this, but I guess it was just showing off all the things you could do, and I'm sure a lot of people actually use the Sega CD as their dedicated music device, I'm sure. And what else do we have in here? We have Lethal Enforcers. I actually have the big box, but it's in storage because it's just too big for the shelf. And Sewer Shark, Sherlock Holmes. This is cool. So this is I guess you'd say like a chiptune album, but it's on the Sega CD and it's interactive. It's pretty neat. If you can find it, definitely get it. Here's the CD that you would put in the Sega CD when you play Pure Solar, and it would give it CD quality soundtrack. I really wish they did that with more games. Like, can you imagine them re-releasing a cartridge of like Sonic 2 and it came with a CD and you could play CD quality sound? But then at that point it's like, why don't they just re-release, Sonic CD or Sonic 2 on... So maybe it's a bad idea. I don't know. That's why I don't work at Sega. Moving on to the Sega Saturn, I got into collecting this around 1998, I want to say, right before the Dreamcast came out to America. And one of the first games I actually got online, one of the first online purchases I made was Burning Rangers. I got this from Sega Parts. So this was new when I got it for, I think, like $30 in 98, 99. And I don't regret getting it because now it's very difficult to own. And then, just some oddball titles. We've got The Clockwork Knight Duology. Last Bronx is a excellent fighter. I really wish they would bring this back. I think Last Bronx 2 would be... I don't know. I don't think it would make Sega much money, but it would be really awesome to see. This is funny. So, I got... Was it Robert Belgrade, right? He was in the Castlevania games, I think. He did a voice. But I looked him up. He was at a Too Many Games convention. And I always like looking up the people there and seeing if they had any Sega connections. He did the menu voice for this. And when I saw him, I was like, hey, you worked on this. And he goes, oh, I guess I did. And he signed it. I don't know why he signed it backwards. I think he's a little crazy. I actually thought he was like, this kid's bullshitting me. He's going to sell it on eBay. I better sign it backwards so it's not worth anything. I don't know. Weird guy. But he was nice to sign it. Here we have Mr. Bones. Underrated title. Very fun. It's basically like WarioWare. Tons of little mini games. It's very cool. I love this game. Moving down here. Now, if you're going to own a Sega CD and you need Sonic CD, then if you're going to own a Saturn, you're going to have to own Knights. It's just expected of you. In fact, Izuka will come to your house and slap you if you don't own Knights. Even if you don't own a Saturn, he'll hit you. He's hit me. Pandemonium, underrated title. Everything's underrated, I guess. I actually played the iPhone port of this, and I really wanted to pick it up on Saturn. Panzer Dragoon, the two shooters here. Resident Evil. I got this maybe for like $15 back in the day. I didn't think much of it, but now I guess it's a kind of a hard to find game. The 3 Sonic titles that are on the Saturn. I'd say Sonic Jam's the best one. A lot of people love Sonic R, and when I had it, I don't know, I'm mixed on it. Like, I wish it controlled better. I love everything else about it. And sometimes I'll play it for like a good hour and be like, it suddenly clicks with me, and then I'm good at it. But I feel like it could have been more pick up and play. I'll use that word again. Underrated game, Tempest 2000. I believe this was on the Jaguar. I think. Virtual On, classic. Wipeout, probably one of my favorite non-SEGA franchises, and it was the game that really got me into graphic design. I'm really looking forward to the Wipeout art book that's coming out soon from, or not soon, but in the future, from Read Only Memory, who did the Mega Drive book and is doing the Dreamcast book. So I'm actually going to be interviewing him in a few months, so stay tuned for that. Down here we have a few loose things, Christmas Nights, some demo discs, Virtua Fighter Remix. I have more Saturn games. I actually bought most of the fighting games disc only when I picked up my console in '98, and they were all like $1 each. I kind of wish I had them in their cases now, but at least I own them, so that's fine. And I mean, these things take up so much space. Look at that. Look at all that space. As for the Japanese titles, we have Kenji Ino's D. This is not really playable, but, and as is this one, I mean, they're not import friendly, but I love him as a director, and I just needed to own these two at least. I want to get the English releases at some point, but these were so much cheaper. Deep Fear, great game, and very affordable. I got this actually not too long ago, and it's still, $10 to $20. Well worth importing. And then I double dipped on a few titles. I have the English versions of these, but there's little things in them that make them unique to their region, like Pepsi Man in Fighting Vipers. Gale Racer, Sonic fans would know this as his first game, though technically, it's like his first cameo. I don't think it's fair when people go, oh, they should have listed Gale Racer as Sonic's first appearance. Panzer Dragoon Azul, unplayable, but neat to own. The two Puyo Puyo titles, I think there's more on the Saturn, but this one's a lot of fun. This is my preferred one. Fun in the Sun. Puyo Puyo Sun. And let's see what we got here. I got this not too long ago. It is Real Bout. I am not a big SNK nerd, but I just like the box, and it came with the extra RAM memory card thingy. I don't know. I kind of feel like I spent too much on it, but I thought it was such a cool box. Like, look at that. He looks like Nagoshi. Well, he doesn't look like him, but like the pose. Sitting in the throne, throwing Yakuza games at kids' heads. Kenji Ino, another game of his. This one is called Real Sound, and it is a game for the blind. It's unplayable if you don't speak Japanese. I kind of want someone to like remake this, like do a fan translation and get voice actors. It was on both the Saturn and the Dreamcast, but obviously because there's no graphics, I think the Dreamcast one might have a visual mode, but it's cool. We're owning either way. It's got this great slipcover. I'm not going to open it up, but you can see. And it comes with seeds, so you can plant a tree. So there's all these cool little things in there. Probably the greatest game ever made, starring my Lord and Savior. It's Segata Sanshiro's game. Let's see if I can say Segata Sanshiro Shinkinyuji. Probably butchered that. Really fun mini games. It's got most of the commercials on there, so that's a lot of fun. I made these in my early days of blogging, and I know, say what you will about Sonic 4, but I had fun making them. And I remember at the time, one of my first online interactions with Aaron Weber, he really liked them, and that, of course, when Senpai notices you remember it for years. We've got the My Life with Sega CD Saturn game. Not a game, but it's a VCD. And so it's playable on the Saturn if you have the VCD card, which I do, so I can enjoy my VCDs, like, what do I have? Dances with Wolves and Forrest Gump. So, if you like those movies, come on over, we'll watch some VCD. And then this is his DVD that I also designed for him. He did the actual content, but I did the case design. And then some of my boxed Game Gear titles. I only have 3, and I think some of these are re-releases from Mexico or something. What is it? Who was that? Maybe not. Maybe this is an original. I don't know. Gosh, I'm making a mess. My OCD is off the charts right now. I really want to fix all this, but I won't. I won't, because I'm better than that. These are my cartridge-only games. Another thing with my collecting is, unless it's like a super rare game for super cheap card only, I'm going to get complete in box. So I've actually passed up a lot of games that I kind of wish I would have gotten, but it's like, do I want to spend $40 on a cartridge only, or do I want to spend a little bit more and get the whole shebang? Like this one I got for $1. Like, I'm not going to say no to Zillion 2. And then some weird sports titles. I probably got these to use for cases, for, you know, like some of the custom cases, so whatever. Young Indiana Jones in my... I love these things. The Funko Land boxes. These are great. Wacky Worlds. I don't know. Shout out to Funko Land. I wish they were still around. That was a great place to buy games. And then my box list 32X games without end labels. I will show them to you. We've got the awful BC Racers. We've got the underrated Cosmic Carnage. I know Classic Game Room loves that one. We've got the awful Motocross. We've got the excellent Star Wars Arcade, recently added to the Galloping Ghost Arcade. Shout out to them. They have it. And I want to go play it again. Virtua Fighter, not for resale, so I don't know how the hell I got this. Maybe I stole it. Maybe I killed a man for it. And then WWF Raw, which is almost unreadable here. And then the Bayonetta amiibo, just because, you know, you gotta support Bayonetta. Moving on, we have some of the limited run games releases. We have Night Trap and Wonder Boy: The Dragon's Trap. I'm not a long-time collector of limited run games titles, but it just happened that they were doing 2 Sega related releases with Trap in the title within the same month. So that was a lot of stress and a lot of little bit of money. But here are the trading cards that go with it. And this is cool. So this is Rampage for the Master System, and I got it signed by the creator. That's pretty cool. I met him at the Galloping Ghost Arcade. He was there at a swap meet, and I actually brought this to swap with someone, and then I realized that he was there, because I have 2. Underneath here, you can kind of see it. You can see my legs. Is my Atari. So let me get this off and we can take a peek at it. So this is my Atari 2600. I got this 2 years ago at a store that actually specialized in movie posters and toys, and they were having a warehouse sale. This was in the back in a box. I've always wanted one of these. Despite the Genesis being my first console that I owned, the first console I ever played was a 2600 at a friend of my parents' house. We were staying in their guest room, and they had one of these hooked up, and it was probably 1988, maybe, because I would have been about 4 years old, so I was aware of, I had memories, and I was aware of video games. I always wanted one, never had one until recently. This is the Heavy Sixer, because it's heavy, and it's got the 6 switches, and there's all these little things, like the way the curvature is, but on the bottom it does say it was made in Sunnyvale, California. So this was the first model. When I got it, this whole trim was in really bad shape, so I removed all the original paint and bought a paint marker. It's not exact, but it looks a lot better than what it was like before. I don't think they make that orange. It's this weird... You can kind of see the color. It's more close to that color, like a weird yellowish orange. An orange that only existed in the 70s. But what was so exciting is I got this, and I got this. So, and the price, I went up to the guy, I was like, how much for the console? And he goes, oh, it's untested, so I'm going to say 25. And I was like, done. And I said, does it come with this storage case? And he said, yeah. And then some of these games I've bought recently, but it came with the paddle controllers. It came with 3 regular Atari controllers. It came with a third-party controller. It came with the box, which I have in the other room, the original Atari 2600 or VCS box, and then below that was this box of games, and I said, oh, well, if I'm buying the console, can I get the games too? And he goes, oh yeah, what's in there? And while he was looking, I was like, I'll give you 25 for the games, so 50 total. And he goes, done. And so I got all of this great Atari stuff, one of the consoles I've always wanted to own, for $25, $50 total. But that's a good price, especially when you see what we got. A ton of box games. We got bowling, Breakout, Berserk, Backgammon. You can see them here. Asteroids, Demons to Diamonds, Echo. No, I'm just kidding. Dolphin, Haunted House. This is a lot of fun. I really like that one. Keystone Capers. That's one of my favorite ones. Oink is another favorite of mine. Sega's Pingo. I asked some Atari fans. They said this is one of the rarer games that I got. They said you'd probably be spending $25 on it alone, so that was a really good deal for this big box of games. What else do we have? Sequest, YN Sequest. A lot of space games. Tutankhamun. You can see the kids who got these though are just like, oh wow, like get it for Christmas and just rip it open. Like this one, they just opened like a cereal box. And Zaxxon. I think I bought this after the fact, so there's Zaxxon. I bought this after the fact too, like later on. Carnival. This came with the bundle. And then Combat. So yeah, that was an exciting purchase. Now we'll talk a little bit about the TV. It is a Sony Vega, or Vega. I never knew, it was such a stupid name. But I really love this one just because it's a nice flat screen, it's a nice big screen, games look great on it. I can play my light gun games. It has component inputs. It actually has quite a few inputs. And it's just, yeah, I mean, it's no flat screen TV, but I mean, for the stuff that I have plugged into it, it definitely looks great. Down below, we have a VCR. I know some people might think that's funny, but I feel like in every situation where I've needed a VCR, I've had a VCR. And I feel like more situations in my life where I need a VCR than not. Does that make sense? Anyway, moving on, we have an Xbox. This was my one that I bought when the Dreamcast died. It was, hey, I had to make that decision, and I went with the Xbox. I love it, but there's like this problem with the eject and power button, so it does not power off. It's always on, so I need to plug it in if I want to play it, and the eject thing's not working. I looked it up. There's something having to do with like something dripping in here. I don't know. I mean, build quality is not great. I kind of wish they had a top-loading Xbox. I feel like that would have solved a lot of problems with like physical buttons on the top, not these clicky ones. And then moving on to over here, we have my namesake, the Sega Nomad. We have my Master System. The 3D glasses thing, this annoys me because basically, this can play any of the games, it can play the cards, but when I try to play a 3D game, the glasses just don't work. And I've tested the glasses on a friend's machine, and it works. So if anyone's watching this and they know the ins and outs of this, is there like a little capacitor or something that blew that doesn't allow the 3D to work, but everything else works fine? I don't know. Let me know in the comments. Here's my Philips CDI. And the funny story behind this is my dad's. And he had a bad habit of buying into new technology before it was really proven to be the new technology that's here to stay. So he bought a Betamax. I don't think he bought a Laserdisc, but he was close. He bought a photo CD player, and if you don't know what that is, it's like, it can play codec photo CDs, so like it's a digital slideshow. And it can play music too, so that was fine. That was kind of our music player. But this one Yeah, he went all in on it, and I have a ton of the games. He worked for a department store company. He worked in the marketing department, but he on the day that they were clearing everything out, he bought all the white label discs. So that's kind of cool. I've got a bunch of those, and I'll show you those. They're the demo, the in-store demo discs, but they were basically the full game. I don't think there were any instances where it was like an alpha release or anything nerdy like that. The white Japanese Saturn. This is probably my favorite Sega console in terms of design. I just think it's lovely. Mine's yellowing a little bit on the front, but you can't really tell. Yeah, I think it actually came that way, so it hasn't really been doing it during my owning it. But then again, it's happening here too. This is my Dreamcast. I have 4 of them, I think. This one, though, this is the Japanese model, and the way you can tell is the way they phrase the Windows CE here. Another sign is that this is actually clear like shiny plastic. It's not just flat gray, this little bit here. Not that, but this. And what was cool about this was I got this for, I think, about $30 on eBay with 3 games, including Rez and Virtua Fighter 3TB. And I had it for a while, but I always thought, well, I can't really play my American games on it. And so I would just use a boot disc, or I would just use my American console. And one day I wasn't thinking, and I opened it up, and I put an American game in, closed it, and started it up, and it played. So this was actually, this is modded, so it can play all regions, no problem. So this is really awesome to have. Down below, the PlayStation 2 Slim. I had the original fatty one. I don't know what PlayStation fans call it. PS2 Fat. It's a piece of crap, though. I'm sorry. Like, I don't hate the PS2, but man, that thing like just crapped out on me. Like, the disk drive stopped working, video out stopped working. This one, though, much better design. I actually really like this. I mean, as a Sega fanboy who's supposed to hate the PS2, I think the PS2 Slim, especially the silver one, is very cool. So, thumbs up. And then the Wii. Not much to say about that, though this is kind of a cool little cover. For accessories, it's kind of a mess in here, but it's an organized mess. So this is my my Master System stuff. So I have the gun, I have the little I don't know what this thing's called, like the control stick, some Genesis cartridges, the Saturn 3D pads, the Mighty Mouse mat. What is it called? It's the Mega Mouse. Mighty Mouse is an Apple product. And then my my Zapper. So Wii U, or Wii, NES, basically everything here. In this drawer is all of my Dreamcast stuff, lots of little controllers, microphones, the DreamEye camera, fishing rod, what else is in here? The mouse, the keyboard. Again, it looks like a mess, but it's organized. Like, look, I kept all my little VMU caps. I really love this one. I got this recently from a friend who went to Japan last year. He got me the blue Millennium and then the pink VMU here. So, yeah, I feel like I have more Dreamcast controllers than friends. That's kind of sad. Moving up to the top, this is a Sonic Shuffle store display. I went into like an EB Games back in like 2001 when the Dreamcast was on its way out, and I said, hey, can I have any of your like display stuff? So they let me take this. It's just like a big version of Sonic Shuffle, so that's kind of fun. And I just use it to cover up some boring looking stuff here. And then here he is, or she, I don't know, we haven't decided yet. The Genesis, my first console, still working great. No problems with this whatsoever. Probably one of my favorite consoles, not just like the Genesis, but like this specific one. Like, I have so many memories tied to it. It's so important in terms of, like me being a Sega fan. It was my first Sega console. It introduced me to the Sonic games, which I love. And And since then, I've kind of bastardized it. Like, it's got the Sega CD on it now. It's got a 32X sitting on its face. Like, I like the 32X, but it really ruins the aesthetics here. Tom from the Dreamcast Junkyard actually sent me this. I think he did, yeah. And so it's nice to have the little bit that causes it so this isn't like hanging off. If it was Tom, then thank you. If it wasn't, then thank you to whoever did that. On this side of the room, we have a small amount of Nintendo titles. I don't hate Nintendo. It's just, I kind of signed that contract with Sega in 1991, and I couldn't really break it. And there was a stipulation that I couldn't really buy any Nintendo hardware until the next century. But I got a fair amount. I mean, there's no Nintendo games here, though. They're all Sega titles. I shared a picture of this not too long ago, and someone said, "Wow, that's a lot of Sega games." And I was thinking, "Oh, you dummy! These are all these aren't Sega games." And I realized they all are, really. But yeah, of the Nintendo consoles, I don't own the Game Boy Color, SNES, or Nintendo 64. But or a GameCube, really. I use the Wii. So I'm not a super big Nintendo collector, but there's some great Sega titles to be had. One of the things I loved about the Wii is that it kept light gun games around for at least another generation. I know that the PS3 had some, though I feel like it didn't really take off like the Wii did. So some of the really great ones are let's see, Gunblade New York and LA Machine Guns. Like, Sega would not make this now. It was such a kind of surprise title, I feel, even then. Just like, these aren't really big franchises, but they both got a home release, so that's really cool. Speaking of Heavy Barrel from a way back, the arcade version is on this one. Here's the re-release of Alien Syndrome, and then more light gun games. So you got Ghost Squad, House That Overkill, 2 and 3 Return. I will say Kirby's Epic Yarn is really cute. I'm a big Kirby fan, and I'd say I'm a big Klonoa fan outside of the Sega stuff. So you see, I can like more than Sega. Let's see. This was a review copy. I probably wouldn't own it otherwise, but it was probably one of the better ones. I really like the London Party mode. And then, see, I own a Mario game. I also own some Sonic games here. Zack and Wiki is really great. It's probably the best use of the Wiimote. And then my very small Wii U collection. I can see why that failed, because, I mean, it was the only new console I owned for a good 2 or 3 years before I got my PS4, and as you can see, I wasn't really getting that many titles. I have a few digital ones as well, but I guess it's worth getting for Bayonetta 2 that hasn't been released yet outside of the Wii U. And then 3D World's alright. I like the one on the 3DS more. And some little figurines. And then Mickey is protecting my Xbox games. I'd say I was like in the Xbox. I think it went Sega, and then it went Microsoft Xbox up until the 360 died, and then I was kind of lost for a bit, and then I finally got a PS4, and I'd say that's my home base. That's where I am now, and I'm happy with it. But Xbox, though, that was a really great console to own if you were a Sega fan, just because, there were so many good original titles, so many good sequels. So, Crazy Taxi 3 High Roller. Gun Valkyrie is, I'm going to use that word again, underrated. Once you learned how to play it, I mean, it was a weird way to control. But once you figured it out, it was a lot of fun. But let's see. This is a classic, Jet Set Radio Future. I actually bought the bundle that came with Jet Set Radio Future and Sega GT, and then years later I had to get the Jet Set Radio Future disc on its own just because it's so pretty and shiny and one of my favorite games. And then, of course, Outrun 2, excellent. Otogi. I don't have Otogi 2. I'd like to get it. Panzer Dragoon Orta. Like, look at all these great Sega titles. Here's Sega GT, Sega GT Online. What's the difference between that and Sega GT? I guess it's online. Sega Soccer Slam's alright. Shadow the Hedgehog is... Shenmue 2. I have the Dreamcast one, so I've never really finished the Xbox version because I finished it on Dreamcast, but I mean, this is the improved version for sure. Hit and Run's a lot of fun. And then some of the Sonic games, some Star Wars games. Toe Jam and Earl 3. I need to play that with a friend because it's kind of boring to play on your own. And then I also have, I'm not sure where it is, but there was a demo disc that came with DLC for Toe Jam and Earl 3. It's somewhere. Maybe I passed over it. And then Xbox 360, I did buy a Kinect, and partially because Sega Bits didn't have anyone who owned a Kinect to do Kinect reviews, and I didn't really know how big it would be, but I knew at least that I wanted to get Rise of Nightmares and Sonic Free Riders. I don't regret it, though. I really like those games. And then I do feel like Kinectables was interesting. Gunstringer, I want to play more of this. I thought this was a lot of fun, and it comes... Does it come with? Oh yeah, it comes with Fruit Ninja Connect, which was actually pretty cool, too. And there was a hole-in-the-wall game, too. Oh, I just broke it. It, like, snapped on the top. I thought Hole in the Wall was kind of fun. Your Shape Fitness Evolved. I mean, it's a fitness game, but it was the best use of the Kinect. You could see your whole body in it and do all these cool little things. But moving away from the Kinect, we have, again, underrated Alpha Protocol, botched release, Anarchy Reigns. I never understood the hate for it, but I guess if you were a Banjo-Kazooie fan, it would make sense. Nuts and Bolts, I like that one. Bayonetta, classic. And then we have, let's see, Binary Domain. This is Child of Eden, but I flipped the cover around because I'm cool. Oh, jeez. Oh my god. Alright, Just Cause 2. Probably my favorite game that's not from Sega on the console. I've only completed 5% of the game, but I have logged like at least 3 days worth of gameplay, so clearly I don't care about the plot, and I've just been fucking around. This is a great compilation. So you get Res HD, you get E4, which was the event to happen after E3, and then Lumines Live. Yeah, I don't know what this is doing here, sorry. And then, lots of Sonic games. Vanquish is excellent. Viking is, should I say it, underrated? Yes, Viking is underrated. When I started doing Sega Bits, one of the things George and I kind of connected on is that we both like this game, and we're like, why don't more people like it? Though we kind of understand why. And then the PS1, I bought these when I got the PS2, so I've never actually owned a PS1, but the backwards compatibility was really great. So, some expected titles like Final Fantasy VII. My favorite ones, of course, Wipeout, Wipeout XL, Wipeout 3. This is a weird game. Like, it's an FMV X-Files game, but with the Season 11 coming out soon, I should really revisit it. PS2 titles, we have... I mean, you can kind of see not too many Sega games here. Just I feel like the PS2 was not the place to be when it came to Sega. Outside of Virtua Fighter 4 and Virtua Fighter 4 Evolution, yeah, I don't know. I would... No, because then there's the Yakuza games. You really need to own a PS2 and an Xbox if you were coming off of the Dreamcast. And that was a lot of money. But, some classics here. Kingdom Hearts. I cry during the end credits to the first one. I won't lie. It's sad. Klonoa, excellent game. Phantasy Star Universe. This is a weird one because it released the same year as Sonic 06 and Sonic Riders, and it has the weird cutscenes, like the weird character animations from Sonic 06 mixed with hoverboards from Sonic Riders. So it's kind of like the culmination of everything bad happening at Sonic Team at the time. Please give me a thumbs down for that. No, actually don't. And again, Rez. Like, here's Rez. And here's Rez. And then we've got Rez down there. Sakura Wars. Really frustrating to see this franchise just never released in the West. But I feel like if games were coming out now, we would be seeing them. Like, I feel like the Atlas folks at Sega of America would be pushing really hard to make this a Western franchise had it been releasing now, but it was releasing at a time when Sega really wasn't caring about bringing this stuff west. Thankfully, it was brought over by NIS America. So, cheers to them. Hats off to them. Moving on, some more Sega titles. Tenchu. Oh, I didn't mention Tenchu. I really like Tenchu and Tenchu 2. I like the map editor in that. My friends and I would have a lot of fun with that back in the day. Back in the 1950s when I was born. And Yakuza titles. I don't own a PS3, but I had to own the Yakuza games. I'm still on the lookout for Dead Souls. I know it's really cheap, so I'll find it sometime. And I do intend to get the first Yakuza game, the recent re-release of it. And then here's my PS4 titles. It's not a lot, but lots of fun games. I bought the Uncharted bundle, so this came with my console. I've never actually played Valkyria Revolution. Like, I've never put the disc in my machine. So I know some people don't think much of it, but see, look, Sega, you're getting money because you're actually doing these really cool special editions where I'm going to buy anything that even comes with like a coaster because I'm a slave to Sega. Yakuza Kiwami, I haven't played that yet because I'm still playing Zero. I'm very slow at these types of games, so I like to take my time. Wipeout, Omega Collection. I mean, obviously I love Wipeout, so I'd have that. Crush PSP, I won this in a contest through one of the Sega fan sites. I'm trying to remember which one. And then I guess we're kind of getting a hint at what's to come. So these are my indie Dreamcast titles. They're a little too big for the shelf down there. And this is one of these I made a custom spine for. Oh, this one. Ducks. It kind of stood out, so I made this spine so it would actually fit in with the other titles. And then here is my little CD wallet. So let's take a quick look in here. So as I mentioned, when I got the Saturn, I bought a lot of disc-only titles. So as you can see here, the Bug Playable Preview. What's this one? The Bootleg Sampler. But a lot of these I got for like, I want to say like $1 each when the Saturn was kind of on the way out and the Dreamcast was coming. So Megamix, Fighting Vipers, Virtua Fighter 2. You see here, lots of classics. And then some of my Dreamcast disc-only titles. Last Blade 2, I got this for free. It was $5, and it was about maybe two or 3 years ago, and it rang up as 0, so I was like, score. Bangai-O, I got this in a lot. It came with Tech Romancer, which was complete, and a few other titles, but this one kind of didn't really show up well on the eBay listing. So I knew it wasn't in it, but I didn't search for it, so it was kind of a nice little, it was one of those eBay listings where you're like, I hope no one else finds out about this, because I want that. And then some other disc-only titles. I got Arrow Wings, Air Force Delta. I think I got these in a lot, an eBay lot. And then this is a DVD that came with a Dreamcast magazine, so it plays upcoming Sega titles, I think. And then this one, too, it's a GD-ROM, Japanese only, and it just has videos. I don't think it has any demos. And then here we have the VMU tool. And I don't really advocate burning games, but not because I'm like, oh, you're going to take money away from the creators, because, I mean, no one's making money off of Dreamcast games now, but it's just like, I don't know. Kind of hurts your laser, doesn't it? But this is great because it allows you to access your VMU memory card, add new files, play VMU games, view animations, do all this fun stuff, free up new space, like clear up blocks on the existing memory cards you have. So definitely get this. I don't think you're going to find any with this art on it. But yeah, that's what I did. And then down here we have just a bunch of pieces of Sega merchandise that I really didn't have anywhere else to put. So it's just, it's a fun little mood table. You get some of the All-Stars Racing figurines here, the Sega Gals Collection 1 and 2 figures. I have more down here. And Bug, probably the only figure ever made of Bug from a fast food promotion. I have the, the Astro City, or I have the cabinet, the second one they made of these, but I haven't built it yet. Zillion VHS tape. This is cool. So when I visited Sega, they didn't let me into like the back, so I grabbed this at the front desk. But I did meet with at the time Julian and Kelly, who were doing the community management, and they were very cool. Got to chat with them, look at stuff. It was actually funny because I came in and they were bringing stuff out of the archives to show me, and I said, "Oh, I didn't bring my car. I don't know where to put these." And they thought I was being serious, and they said, "No, these aren't for you." And it was kind of awkward, but they get it now. I'm a jokester. I'm a joke maker. And then this is a business card from someone. I won't show their details, but that's kind of cool. Oh, there they are. Actually, I don't think they work there anymore. No, they don't. So, go nuts. No, I'll probably edit that out. Will I? Space Channel 5 stuff, Jet Set Radio stuff. Let's see. Fantasy Star Online. And Toe Jam and Earl. This is really cool. This was my my uncle's. He passed away maybe about 10 years ago, 15 years ago. And he fixed arcade machines, and so this was on his belt loop, and it's an Atari measuring tape you can see there. That's kind of cool. And Turbo. So, moving down here, we have probably my biggest collection in terms of just the amount of games that I have for a console, the Dreamcast, and I'm not going for a complete collection, though I did count, and this is half the American titles, but really I probably have maybe 10-15 games I'd really want to get still, and outside of that, I'm not looking for a whole collection. It's kind of funny because when I set all this stuff up, I kind of reached capacity. Like, I don't have much room to grow unless I start putting some things away or selling things as if that's going to ever happen. So here's more of the Sega Gals figures. They're cool, though I feel like some of them were built badly. Like, she leans forward, so I had to tilt her this way, so she's doing like a Michael Jackson kind of lean. But beyond that, they're very cool figurines. They used to be pretty cheap, but now they're kind of hard to get. But yeah, in terms of games, you can kind of see them back here. I know some people get annoyed when you put figurines in front of your games, so this is the only instance. So don't get too offended. But, so here's my Japanese titles. You can kind of see them here. Really good ones. Bomber Hee Hee. I did a video for that years ago for the Dreamcast Junkyard. Very good game. Cool Cool Tune. You can use the Samba de Amigo maracas for that. It's unknown. People don't really know about that, but it's not like, oh, it actually works, but they actually built it into it. It actually was intended to work. Is this the one, Death Crim? One of these two. You can record enemy noises, so you can shoot things with, I think it was Death Crimson here, and then it would go like, ah! So it would be your voice. It takes up a lot of your memory card space, but still, it's fun. And, let's see some here. Make an X. Puyo Puyo 4. Sega Gaga. Tokyo Bus Guide is very import-friendly, lots of fun. Here's Virtua Fighter 3 TB. This is the one that comes with the Project Berkeley disc that has the little behind-the-scenes for Shenmue teaser. And then there is, of course, another Shenmue-related disc here. We have What's Shenmue? And I'll put that away later. My 3 UK PAL games. Got Shenmue 2, the first game I've ever imported. I got this in 2001, about a few weeks after the game released in the UK. I had to own it. Like, I was feeling sick to my stomach, if I didn't own it, because I hated the thought of people playing Shenmue 2 and I wasn't playing it. So shame on Sega. Shame on them for not releasing that on the Dreamcast in the US. Same goes for Headhunter here. That's a lot of fun. I didn't like waiting for the PS2 release. I don't even think at the time we knew it was coming to PS2. Jet Set Radio, the PAL version, has some different music. I think it has different graffiti as well. Then moving along, start out, I separated the white labels from the black labels. It just looks better, I think. So you can see some of those titles here. It sucks, though, with the Midway titles, because stuff like Hydro Thunder, they release them and they're unplayable. Like, the discs are just badly pressed, and people will still be selling those. So if you ever want to buy a Midway release, make sure it has the hot new green label on it. Like, let's see, I actually have it down here. You can see it, or just get this version. But yeah, you need to be on the lookout for that and really do some research, because you're gonna just be buying a game that's unplayable, which sucks. Good titles here: JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Code Veronica I bought because of the Dreamcast. I'm not showing her off. I'm showing off the game. Because of the Dreamcast magazine review, but it's a little difficult for me. Mainly the save system kind of bugs me. Rayman 2, excellent title. Power Stone, excellent title. Going down here, now I can actually pull some of these out. Seventh Cross Evolution is so weird. And you wouldn't know what it is based on the box. It looks like an RPG. But it's actually like a really bizarre, like really involved A-Life game. I definitely recommend this if you like weird games. Same with Shadow Man. Like, there's so many goofy games here. Shadow Man, it's like, what the fuck? Such a weird title. But it's fun. It came with a map inside the case. Any game with a map is always worth buying. Let's see. We got the South Park games, the Star Wars games. Super Magnetic Neo is good, but like, if you want the Dark Souls of magnet-based games, this is it. This game is so fucking difficult. So hard. And you wouldn't think it. You look at it, oh, it looks like a kid's game. And you start playing it, and it's fun, it's easy. But the way they do their system for, like, coming back to life, it's not punishing. So you're like, oh, okay, well, I just respawned. Let's try it again. Oh, I just respawned. Let's try it again. And it's just like, you keep playing and playing and playing, and yeah, it's very difficult. Tony Hawk, great game. I mean, the Dreamcast version is my preferred version. Same with a lot of other games like this, like Rayman 2, Episode 1 Racer. Just, you know, the Dreamcast had its fair share of ports, but I think, you know, when it came to like a PlayStation or an N64 game, it was always better on the Dreamcast, in my opinion. Wacky Races is a great racing game. Really cool graphics. This one, on the other hand, I don't know what to say about it. It's like, look at this. It's a Walt Disney's Magic Racing Tour. Look who the star is. Who are these people? Like, you don't race as any notable Disney characters. It's like, what? What were they thinking? Ugh. Still. Wetrix. Let's see what else we got here. Chicken Run. Why did that become a game? Why was that a game? D2. Excellent game. Again, going back to the Kenji Eno games I was showing off. Definitely worth buying. It looks like it's a big game because there's so many discs. It's actually very short. It's just because of all the video clips that they had to do that. Let's see. We have Donald Duck's Going Quackers. Again, it's a port, but it's probably the best version of it, in my opinion. Some good RPG titles. Floygen Brothers. The Grinch. The Grinch is weird because the narrator of it is the voice of Space Ghost. So, but he's uncredited. So you're like, George Lowe, that's his name, right? George Lowe, I think. Yeah, it's totally his voice. And, you know, he this is a Warner Brothers game, and Warner Brothers, don't they own? Anyway, yeah. If you like Space Ghost, check that out. Let's see, moving on down here. Ooga Booga, despite being an online title, it's still a lot of fun now. Get some friends around. It's a really great party game. Anyone can really enjoy it. The Phantasy Star titles. I spent so many hours playing those. It's kind of sad, though. You go back and it's like, I kind of equate it with going back to your high school, you know, like years later, and you're like, everything just seems smaller. You don't recognize anything. Cry yourself to sleep. Anyway, reaching the end here. And more of the indie titles. I gotta say, little opinion here. I feel like, are these dying out because, you know, there's these Kickstarters we're seeing, and they continually fail to get funded. And I don't know if people are just kind of growing out of the whole indie Dreamcast scene, or if it's just because they're asking for too much money, because they are raising money, but not the amounts that they want. Having said that, this was a recent one that came out, and it's a lot of fun. I liked it. It's like Bomberman, but it utilizes the VMU, which is cool. But I think they had a lot of this developed before it released, which, you know, keep that in mind. I don't know. Maybe that's the key, is to actually have a game to sell. Moving down here, we have the Dreamcast Magazine demo discs. I have some doubles of those in case anyone wants one. No, I'm not giving them away. And then my DS games, as you can see, a lot of Sega titles. And then my 3DS ones. Yeah, Project Cross Zone. I need to finish the second one, but I really like those games. They can get a little boring after a while, like when you're playing them for like 2 weeks straight, and then you're like, I need to do something else with my life. But they're a lot of fun. Rhythm Thief, 3D Classics Collection. I'm really hoping we get the third one released over here at least. And then, you know, everyone loves Sonic Boom, don't they? And then some soundtracks here. So like the Jet Set Radio and Jet Grind Radio music samplers. And that does it for this shelf. And because this is a game room video, I'm not going to go into my DVDs too much. I'm just going to run through them real quick. So these are like the Matt Groening animated stuff through Futurama, and then The Critic, which was not Matt Groening, it was Al Jean, but still. And then we get into the Adult Swim stuff. So we have home movies, we have some of the classics here, Wacky Races, the original Space Ghost. And then here's the complete Space Ghost, including a couple DVDs I burned on the Adult Swim Manufacture On Demand service. So it's really hard to get your hands on the complete Space Ghost collection, but I'm glad I managed to do it. It's unfortunate, though, they kind of stopped. There's no more Aqua Teen DVDs. There's still like 2 or 3 seasons left. But like Perfect Hair Forever, this one's hard to get just because, again, it's a Manufacture On Demand one. And same goes for, I don't see it here. The live action stuff, too, the Tim and Eric things, and then, you know, by association, we have some Neil Hamburger DVDs. Everything is Terrible, and then out of nowhere, the Three Stooges documentary. And then back here, we have, like, classic comedy. You can't see them, but the Three Stooges are back there. Marx Brothers, Comedy Central stuff, live action comedy, Kids in the Hall, which kind of leads you into, like, we have News Radio over here, Phil Hartman, sketch comedy, Seinfeld, British comedy, British drama, I guess, and then live action TV stuff, animated. I have a lot more, but these were kind of the ones that I could fit in this space and that I would probably watch more than other ones. Though I will admit that Netflix and Hulu kind of stopped my collecting for things like Always Sunny in Philadelphia, South Park. You know, I don't own any of those because they're on streaming services, and I know they could go away sometime, but if they do, I'll buy them. Classic horror back here, you can't really see it, but it's all of the really great legacy collections. They're re-releasing those on Blu-ray now. And then just horror. Then moving into, I'm a bbig fan of the Full Moon movies, like Puppet Master and stuff. I went out to a road show and met Charles Band. He's a weird guy. Has a lot of really funny stories about filmmaking. There's a book that just came out called It Came from the Video Aisle. I really recommend checking that out if you like their weird bad movies. Criterion Collection titles, lots of Wes Anderson stuff, and then here's all of the, outside of I think 1 or 2 titles, here's all the Blu-rays of the Ghibli and Miyazaki movies, though G-Kids are re-releasing all of these, and there's a few of them that have, these are like, dub titles on a few of these, so I would like to rebuy the ones that have the corrected subtitles on them, and then if you know what this is, you'll cry. And then, real quick here, we have Blu-rays, TV shows, and movies, alphabetically, of course. If you want the saddest movie ever made, life itself, like, if you... Oh, man. That'll wreck me. Let's see, we have Stranger Things. I just got this. It released, I think this week, as I record this. Tarantino XX is really cool. It's just a great way to get all the Tarantino titles, of course, outside of these two, which released afterwards. Here we have... Don't judge me. I like the DC movies more than the Marvel ones. And it's just because out of convenience. I can watch 4 movies and get all the characters for the same amount of, 14 movies that would take Marvel to make. Though having said that, I love the X-Men movies. I mean, it took a dip in quality with the third one and with X-Men Origins, but I think the X-Men movies are probably my favorite superhero film franchise, and I really like the direction they're taking it with Deadpool and the New Mutants. And then this is a little, like future planning. So I've got the MonsterVerse here. A few Disney titles. I don't actually own that many, but Wreck-It Ralph is really great. All the Muppet movies, some of the TV shows, and then the near complete Pixar library. I don't think I'm ever going to own Cars 3. Am I lucky to even own Cars? I don't know. I was just being a completionist at that point. And then we got this guy here. And then finally we've got, behind this random assortment of movie memorabilia, we've got my DVDs, and it's just a selection of ones that I haven't upgraded to on Blu-ray, and just ones that I watch. I have quite a few in storage, actually. Probably most of this, like the same amount, is probably in storage. So just some titles that I like. Though some of them you can't get on Blu-ray, like the unedited version of Kung Fu Hustle. They don't have that on Blu-ray. Some other ones here. I don't think Son of Rambo. Where's that? Here. I really like that one. That's not on Blu-ray, to my knowledge. And this thing? Yeah, I don't know. And then back here we have the Power Stone anime. So if you like Power Stone, check that out. I really don't like the work ADV did. They like redubbed it and everything, so it's kind of unwatchable, but it's fun. I don't know. I like the animation at least. And then you can see some of the figurines here. And then moving along to the bottom here, we have, these are all the Cinemassacre ones, so the like horror movies and stuff, the Angry Video Game Nerd. Got a couple classic Game Room DVDs here, talking classics. And this is cool. I actually got Keith to sign it. If this stinks, then you are watching it wrong. And then I've got the card game Nostalgia Critic and Angry Video Game Nerd card game, and then I've got Fester's Quest autographed. These are the too large for shelf Blu-rays. So I've got the Dark Knight trilogy. This is a DVD set, really great one. Superman, Watchmen, all the James Bond movies, the classic Dick Tracy movies. Here's the Ninja Turtle stuff, so the new series, the classic movies, the new movies. I don't like the first one. I like the second one a lot, but I'm a big sucker for stupid packaging, so this is the Blu-rays inside of a lunchbox. This is cool. I got this at a toy store back when they sold animation cells at toy stores, so that's cool. It's all for Toidles. And we got some Venture Brothers figures here. I'm not going for a full set, but I would like to get a Brock Sampson, so I'll put him there someday. And down here we have some magazines. I have some other magazines in storage, but these are mainly my gaming magazines. So I've got, let's see if you can see here, like that's the Dreamcast magazine, complete set. These are Japanese Famitsu magazines. And then more, oh, these are Nintendo Power. And then I have in the other room a box of all of the Sega Visions, and then all of the Xbox Nation unofficial Xbox magazines. And now let's check out what's in here. So in here we have a random assortment of things, including some Dig games from the Leapfrog Learning System. I got this in an eBay lot. I didn't get it for Clone Wars or Indiana Jones, though I am interested in trying these out if I ever get the Dig handheld. But I got it because it's the Sonic the Hedgehog that few people talk about. Not from 06, not from 91. This one's from... what year is this from? Oh, it doesn't have the year on the back. In any case, this is really weird because it's got like Sonic 2 elements and Sonic 3 elements and like learning elements, and you can hook up to your computer and like add custom animations for Sonic, so you can see he does moonwalking and yo-yoing. Very weird, but I definitely want to check this out sometime. Maybe I'll make a video on it. Speaking of other videos, here's my Game Boy Advance SP. Bunch of games in here. I'll do a separate video for this someday. We got a lot of cleaning kits in here. So we've got the Game Gear cleaning kit. If you are a true Sega fan, you'll know what these things are and why they're in here and not attached to their product. This is cool. So this is the Sega IR7000 communicator. I believe it's Casio that made it, and Sega put their branding on it. Can't open it up. 1 second. Alright, there we go. So as you can see, it's got a full keyboard. There's a battle mode, so you can actually fight other people who have this wirelessly. There's a calendar, date book, address book. You can create little avatar images for all your friends. And all in all, it's an interesting little curiosity piece. There were actually other ones from Casio without the Sega branding that I think were cooler. There was one that doubled as a TV remote, another one that sent secret messages to friends. This one has the battle mode. I think the secret messages one is kind of cooler, but I guess in this day and age, the battle mode is, I guess, still unique because now you can just text your friends. But fun little device. And this actually came out the same year as the Sega Pods, which was another, I believe, licensed product that Sega put their name on. And then also the Sega Pico came out around that time too. So as you can see in here, I have my the complete North American Pico collection, 20 games, and then I also have a Japanese one. I'll get to those. Let me clear out some of these things. We've got a Sega Bits mouse pad. We have the Handy Gear, which is makes your Game Gear nearly waterproof, and it also has a magnifying glass. This thing is so bulky, but it's fun. Like, it's got all these little ports to get to all the things. You see, so you can play your Game Gear in the rain. I would never test it though. And we have the Sega Genesis cleaning kit, the Eliminator, and then just some papers. What is this? The power plug. So just like manuals for a Game Boy I never owned. Columns Crown book. So, but yeah, let's take a look at these games real quick. So, like I said, this is the complete North American library. Japan had a ton more, and I believe Europe had less than America. I don't recall exactly what the European library is. This is my favorite one, though. So this is the Japanese Sonic Game World. These can be found on eBay for reasonable prices still. And the great thing is the Sega Pico is region-free, so you can play this on that. And what makes this different from the American one is, well, it lacks the coloring book option. It has the casino, which was cut from the North American release, obviously, because like this is a kid's educational system, or it's meant to be. This is really more of a mini-game compilation. There's nothing educational about that, which actually makes it the best title, I think. At least if, you know, you're not learning your colors or your numbers. But let's check it out. So we've got the Berenstain Bears. This is a rare one. Pepe's Puzzles. I think this is that penguin character, actually. Is this a Sanrio character? I don't know. Or is this that Sega character, that little penguin guy? Was it Pengo? I'm not sure. But this one's a little harder to find. I'd say the rarest North American Pico game is still not that expensive. Like, I got a lot of these for $1, $5, $10. It was really, I think, well, let's see. So this one's very easy to find. It's like a coloring one. But this one was difficult to find, I found. The Great Counting Caper with the 3 blind mice. It's harder to find them in the boxes, too. I'm glad I have this one in the box, though, Tales and the Music Maker. It's not bad, but it's, I think, kind of like that Dig game I was showing you. It's weird because it takes kind of elements of other Sonic games, but then it makes it educational. And there's actually a really good breakout game in this, and it uses the stylus on the Pico, and it's very responsive. It's, you know, it's like playing with like an iPhone or on a 3DS with the stylus. Works really well. So, Crayola, Magic School Bus. You can see, too, different colors for the cartridges. I don't know if it was random. Some come in, like, a red and a purple. Other ones might come in a yellow and a red. I don't really know if it's ever been, like, taken... Like, people have actually looked at what color cartridges games have come in. I think this is one of the only Muppet games on a Sega console. I could be wrong. This one's cool. I sound like an idiot saying that. But there's a pottery wheel thing. So you use the stylus and you actually carve out from a block of clay and you can make a, like a little pot. That's kind of fun. Pooh. A lot of Disney titles. Yeah, a lot of Disney titles. This is probably the easiest one to find. And the easiest one to break, I guess. Jeez. And then finally, we've got Echo Jr., Sonic's Game World. I'd say this is another difficult one to find. The Mother Goose ones, and Smart Alec. I don't know if you saw it in there, but it was like Smart Alec and Alice or something. That one was kind of difficult to find. Though I'd say this one... The game itself is not hard to find, but it's the only North American one that I know of that comes with a separate, like, plastic mat that you put down on the Pico, you snap into place, and it is the only way to actually play this because it has all the musical instruments. Because you look at this and there's, like, no real, you know, it doesn't really give you an idea of what to do. And on the Pico itself, you're supposed to push different instruments and do things. And if you don't have that little interactive, that little piece of plastic, the overlay, basically, you can't play it. And I have it, and I uploaded it to Sega Retro. So if you have this and you don't have the mat, go on there, you can print it out, and you can thank me every day you wake up in the morning. So moving on. So let's take a look over here. We have this is a Power Stone promotional shirt. We've got another Pico game here. This one's really cool. So this is a Donald Duck fishing game. And as you can see, it comes with a fishing pole, and then I think I put all the manuals for my other games in there and that little overlay I was talking about. But this is really fun. So you go fishing with Donald and the boys, and there's actually a story mode, and at the end you battle like the king of the ocean, or what's his name? Not King Triton, this guy. Atlantis? I don't know. But it's fun, and I don't have any other Japanese titles, but I wouldn't mind getting some of the weird ones that have little accessories. And let's see, we got some books. So some code books, secret books. Oh, I was wondering where these were. So this is a Dreamcast vinyl sticker, and then this is a holiday card from our friends at Sega. That's really cool. I'll have to put those out. Keep them up here. Yeah, I moved little over a year ago, and I'm always finding things inside of books, because like in those last minutes when you're moving, you're like, oh shit, where do I put this postcard? Put it in the book. All right, let's move. We've got the Puppet Master DVD box, and then we've got the Complete Ninja Turtles, the 1980s cartoon, and then back there is the what is that? The box for the Pepsi Perfect, which I have up here. And finally, let's move on to this black mystery box. So in this box, on the top, I have some of my VHS tapes. Let's see, we have, this one's pretty cool. This is the Pixar Shorts, but what makes it unique is that this is from before Toy Story. So this was really, I mean, look, they give their address and it's like, yeah, give Pixar a call. I mean, they would never do that, no. But, yeah, so it's cool. Some of them I think they've edited since then, like, pretty sure, Knick Knack, I think they had boobs on one of the characters and they removed them. So that's a cool tape. And let's see what else we have. And then just Army of Darkness. Let's see, several different versions of Star Wars. Hooked on Sonics. This is pretty cool. My parents actually know that guy, so that's a weird family friend. But yeah, so the original VHS trilogy, I think there was one before this too from CBS Fox. I don't know, I don't want to get into it. And then the pre-special edition trilogy, special edition, and then George Lucas's American Graffiti. This is neat. This was never on DVD. It's the Many Faces of Dick Tracy, and it's a 60-year retrospective. Pretty neat, and it talks about the movie, the comic strip, all those things. And then these are just some of my Full Moon VHS tapes, if you remember. Oh yeah, I just added him to the collection since I was last filming. But yeah, so these are the Full Moon movies, but really they got their start with VHS, direct to video. So there's Talisman. I mean, this is just great box art. Bloodstorm. I love this one, Mandroid. And Demonic Toys. And then my personal favorite, Bad Channels. And then below that, so remember we were talking about the CDI a while ago? So here are all my CDI games, or software. Yeah, so the weird thing about the CDI, and I mean, I think the cool thing about it is that they were trying to create a new sort of entertainment device. So it could play VCDs, it could play audio CDs, it could play photo CDs, and then it could play this software. And it wasn't always a game. And I think that a lot of people give the CDI a lot of shit when really it was never advertised as a console. I remember at the time when we got it, I saw the ads at the store. It was not a video game console. Really, it was kind of like, it was part video game console, but it had a lot of things. So, you could learn classical guitar. You could learn about America. But I do have a lot of cool games, such as Zombie Dinos. Let's see what we got here. This one's alright. It's kind of like Golden Tee, but minus the trackball. It's just what you'd expect. It's Battleship. Just straight up Battleship. And then kids games, Mother Goose. So it's kind of like part Pico, part education machine, part music player. Video jukebox. I don't know if this is video jukebox, but there's a few jukebox ones which are really cool because it'll play the music and then like pop up video. It'll show little trivia facts. This one's just bizarre. You'd have to check out videos of this. This is a really, really, really weird. I can't. It's kind of like going to a weird museum. Rembrandt. So yeah, so here's getting into some of the games. So like I was mentioning, we had a lot of white labels because my dad worked for for the marketing department of a department store, and when they were getting rid of the CDI, he bought nearly all of their demo discs, which are basically the full game. I don't think there's any difference. And so let's see, and here's Tell Me Why, and I really should get something more protective for these. A Van Gogh CD. Time Life Photography. Let's see what these ones are. This is Thrilling Video, so I'm opening a CD binder. Let's see. This one's really cool. It's I think this one's a shooting gallery. Another one of them, the other Mystic Midway game is like a kind of like a light gun game. Cartoon jukebox. And then here's some of the better titles. Like Seventh Guest is awesome. I think this is one of the best games for the CDI, and probably the runner-up would be Burn Cycle. This is great too. I believe this is on 3DO as well. Then there's Mystic Midway. So this one, yeah, you ride a roller coaster, and you go through life from like birth to death, and you shoot everything that's terrible. So like getting up in the morning, book reports, things like that. This one's good too, Heather. It's very strange though. It's like part puzzle game, part Space Harrier ripoff, and part, it's also like kind of like Myst too. I recommend getting it if you have a CDI. There's a good version of Space Ace on the CDI as well. This one's pretty cool. Cartoon Carnival. It's all the Hanna-Barbera characters, and each one has a little mini like arcade game. And we got 3 games here, so let's see. There are light gun games, and I have the gun. So we got Mad Dog McCree here. Downtown Blues. Uptown Blues. This one, I really like this game. It's a platformer, The Apprentice. It has great music. I don't think it was released anywhere else. And cool graphics too, you can see here. Yeah, definitely a good one. This one I really like too, Max Magic. It's a magic kit, so you learn... He does magic tricks to you, like he plays the magician and reads your mind and does all these things. And then he teaches you magic tricks as well. And he's kind of like Max Headroom, I think, like the name. He looks like a weird robot guy. And then here's some movies. So we got Dances with Wolves, Forrest Gump. We never owned Forrest Gump on VHS or DVD. Like, this was our copy. So even well into the DVD era, I'd be watching Forrest Gump on VCD. This is great. Titanic. It's hosted by Patrick Stewart, and it's like going through an interactive museum about the sinking of the Titanic. And it was before in my opinion, awful movie. This actually tells you the true history behind it. It's very, very good. And pretty sure I had another interactive cyclopedia here. Beverly Hills Cop, classic. And then finally, The Black Stallion. So, yeah, as you can see, I think I have more CDI games than Nintendo games. So, take that, Nintendo. And let's move on. And on this wall, I just have some more collectibles. So, I have 3 of the GamePro Presents action figures, including another Beat. I have an unboxed one over on the shelf. A prototype Axel Crazy Taxi Cab. They made 500 of these. And then the Monkey Ball action figures, which I traded with Treasure Hunting Sonic. You can find him on Instagram. And then, I don't know why I put this up. I just get a kick out of this. Sonic X Matchbox cars. And you get a Chris van. How'd you like to drive that around? And then here we have a giant Bisou, aka Riff, aka Mew, from Jet Set Radio. This is a giant wall art thing. They made these in Philadelphia, and I found out about them years ago when I was writing for Sega Memories blog. And I emailed the guys, and I was like, hey, can I have a sample? And I looked up where they were, and I was like, oh, you are 10 minutes away from where I work. So I went by, and they showed me their printing press. It was like 3 guys in a small room, and they had all these assets. So all of these huge high-res assets of all the characters and villains and everything exists for Jet Set Radio Future. So I'd love to see those utilized again for some product. Maybe on the Sega shop or something. They don't make these anymore, though. And then, keeping with the Jet Set Radio Future theme, we have a JSRF poster here. I don't know where these were hung, maybe in game stores, but you can see it's advertising Xbox there. So it's definitely official, and it's very cool. I've never seen one like this. So if you have one or know where these come from, let me know. And then I just have some more Sonic items here. These are from I got him at the 25th anniversary party, and then I got these ones later. Here's the hat from the 25th anniversary party grab bag. I love this plush. It's probably my favorite Sonic plush. I don't have that many. I have like these and then 2 in the other room, which I'll show you guys soon. But this one's so cool. He's the carnival plush, but look at his little feet. They're like, I don't really watch the show, but they kind of reminded me of Adventure Time. Just like very simplistic looking, but just his face is just great. I love this. And then of course the giant collector's edition box, and then just stuff down here that I'm not going through. It's just wires, cables, empty boxes. You can see some Sonic stuff in there. But speaking of Sonic, I think it's time to go look at my Sonic collection. So we are in another room of the house now. These are a majority of my Sonic things. I have some stuff boxed up that I just can't put out, or it's not very interesting to me. For a while I was just going to put out just a few notable things, and I thought, screw it, let's just put everything out. So I'll walk you through it here. So we have, I kind of have there's a method to this madness. So we've got, this is all the classic Sonic stuff, 1991 through to about 97, 98. You can see here we have some plushes, Denny's plushes, plushies. I don't like saying plushies, it sounds too. Valentine's Day cards, the Happy Meal toys. You can see it, I don't need to point out everything. These are really cool. The trading cards. And if you've seen my Fastest Food Alive videos, here are the pasta cans. I had one when I made the video, and then I ended up getting the other one too. I will make more of those videos in the future. It's just I can only make so many more, so I kind of want to stretch it out. Bubblegum containers, and then here we are. Oh, these are cool. These are bath stickers. So you stick these to your bathtub. And then over here we have the modern Sonic stuff, and this is where a majority of them are the Jazzwares action figures. I really liked their 20th anniversary lineup, and they actually started getting really good with the figures. This was one of the last ones, Blaze, and then they kind of stopped because Tomy has the license now. So I'm hoping they do more figures other than Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles, which they've been doing now. You can see a really good Big the Cat from them here. And you can see these are some of the Sonic Adventure figures, and the Big Sonic, and then the Bendies, the Super Sonic ones, some Sonic X stuff. And then down here we have the classic Sonic stuff, but this is all the stuff made recently. So these aren't from the classic Sonic era. It's like modern classic Sonic. So we've got some action figures from Jazzwares. These are really great. I love the Eggman they made. And then this isn't classic Sonic. I don't know anywhere to put it, but it's a Sonic 4 Episode 2 iPhone case. Those are cool. And then I haven't built these yet. I will eventually. So these are the new Tomy figures. They made these 3, and then they made like flat colored ones because these ones are shiny. And then they made modern ones, and I think they're making some Sonic Forces ones too. And I think something fell here. This is so this is a patch. Let's see if it stays. Oh, it stays. And the really cool, what are these called? Like Nendoroid? And I love these, the Jazzwares first 4 figures vinyls. I wish they made more vinyls. Here's that card I was showing earlier. And then the Lego one. Not classic Sonic, but it was a good place to put them. And then you can see here a Sonic Mania poster, which I have since hung up. I think I was talking about it earlier, because I'm filming this a few days after my earlier videos. And then here we have the McDonald's Happy Meal toys. And I think these are the first set that came out. We have a Gumball Eyes sticker that they would put on the side of the ice cream truck. Here's the McDonald's box for this thing. So that was in this Happy Meal toy box if you were lucky enough to get the Sonic one. And then more of the McDonald's LCD games. This is a classic. And then down here are more of the collectible items. So it's mainly the anniversary items and oddities. So as you can see here, this is probably the I wouldn't say like the best, but the rarest, most expensive item in the collection. They only made, I believe, 100 of these with the North American cover art. And I got this actually from Francesca Reyes of the official Dreamcast magazine, who was then the editor for the Xbox magazine. And we interviewed her on the Sega Bit Swing and Report show. It was a really good conversation. I had since become, I guess, like Twitter friends with her, and we talked occasionally. And when the Xbox magazine was folding, she said, "Hey, I'm cleaning out my office. I found this really cool Sonic figure." I don't know if she said really cool. That's me talking. "Would you like it?" And I said, "Of course." And so she sent it my way, and I just love it. But I especially love it because it's from her, because she was really an inspiration for me to get into blogging and to write about Sega stuff. I don't like writing, but she, her stuff made me like writing and made me want to write. So kudos to her. And back here we have a Tokyo Game Show sticker from, I believe, last year's. And then this is that Sonic Mania statue you guys all know. These are from the 25th anniversary party. So there's the coin and there's the little flash drive. I have a few more Sonic Mania items coming. They're not here. It's the chopsticks from Tokyo Game Show this year and the Sonic Mania keychain. And back here we have the Gold Rings promotional cereal from Sega Forever, the mobile games, and I did a Fastest Food Alive on that if you want to take a look at it. This is the Sonic Generation statue from the Collector's Edition in Europe. And then this is the, Jazzwares. This is the Jazzwares one. This one sucks. I like it, it looks cool, but if you don't keep these plastic things on them, they melt. They like fall over, and I've seen some horrible pictures. And so thankfully I kept the box and I took these out and put it back on them. I understand why Jazzwares lost the license. They had bad quality control issues. And here we have, this is also from the Collector's Edition here. It's the gold ring and a 10th anniversary pin that I got in a contest. Actually, it was like make a Sonic commercial. And so I made a commercial for Sonic Adventure 2, and I was a runner-up, so I got that. And these two things, these are wacky packages. So it's spoofs on Sonic games. This is Chronic Degenerates for Sonic Generations, and then Bubonic the Plague Hog from Sonic 06. 10th anniversary pack. This is the Sega Holiday card from 2010. Or no, what was that, 2011? Whenever, the year after Sonic Generations, or the year of, I don't remember. But that's really cool. And then over on this wall, we have a few select items. I have a lot of original art from the Archie comics, but I just put 2 of them out here. I think I have about 6 more pages from early issues. This one's really cool. So this is when Sonic got his 1 billionth ring, I believe. And it's one of the few issues and the few pages to show the Wrecking Ball, the Eggomatic Wrecking Ball, to show Sonic. It's like there's so many game things here. If you saw this, you'd be like, oh, the Archie Sonic comics really followed the games. They didn't. Like, this was a rare appearance of the rings in the early issues and them absorbing into the ground and all that. So this is really cool. And I got the, he inked it, Rich Kozlowski. Over here we have a original painting from Milton Knight, who created a lot of the character designs for Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, including Dr. Robotnik. I love Milton's work. It's just disappointing that I don't know how he is now, but he really turned on Sonic fans. Like, he got pissed off when people were like, oh, you're the Robotnik guy, can you paint Robotnik? And he was like, yeah, I'm happy to. And after a while he's like, fuck you, look at my other stuff. And he got so mean. It was so bizarre. He just like going on Facebook and talking to his friends, going, "Oh, those stupid Sonic fans." So leave the guy alone. He does some great work. I'm glad I got this before he kind of had his falling out with the fan base. It's very cool. This one's called Slow Burn, he called it. And then here we have another comic page. This is from issue 47, as you can see here. This is leading up to issue 50, where Sonic murdered Princess Sally. And this is a great one. You get a good look at Knothole Village. You get a really cool crowd shot, so you can see a lot of the characters back here. And then what's neat is you can see they did a lot of editing here. Like, see all those pieces of paper? So under those, they were a different animal. You can kind of see it showing through. You see that? I think they were pigs or something. And they probably are like, no, make them, you know, kind of his species. You can see Uncle Chuck back there. So that's really cool. And then this is right before he gets the guilty verdict. Or I guess he is guilty. They already said it. And up here, the Tracy Yardley Sonic Boom 2014 print that was given out at the show. One of my, I think I have 3 of them, Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog cells. This isn't my favorite one. I have a really cool one with Scratch, Grounder, Robotnik, Sonic, and Tails. But the problem is, and you can see it here, they're starting to slip out of the frame. This one is the least slipped out, so I put this one up. I need to get them fixed, though. And then finally over here, we have a Team Chaotix print from Tracy Yardley. So I think that actually does it for my Sonic collection. I have some books, so I think I'm going to actually run upstairs and go record those. So there's a lot more I could show you, including my Star Wars stuff, my Mystery Science Theater stuff, but to keep this tied to Sega and Sonic, I'm just going to show you guys a few bookshelves here. So we've got, I keep all my paper stuff upstairs, not in the basement, so I don't want it to get, you know, any water on it or anything. It's a dry basement, but, you know, better safe than sorry. So these are just some magazines and guides for various games. Art books. This one's really great. This one's from, I believe, 94, 95, in the midst of the Genesis games. A couple of the Hardcore Gaming 101 books. The Sega Genesis Mega Drive Collected Works book. This is really neat. This is a Japanese guide to the Mega Drive. I can't read it, but it's a pretty cool book. And then the Famitsu Sega Arcade History and Sega Consumer History books. Again, very cool books, but I can't read them. It's fun to see all the listings, though, and see the pictures. This is very cool. So this is one of my favorite items. So let's cut away, and I'll show you guys why I love it. So what makes this so special is George and I were interviewing Blake and Al Nilsson of Sega and Tom Kalinske, the former CEO and president of Sega of America. And after we interviewed Tom, I said, "Oh, I'd love to meet you someday." He said, "Oh, that'd be great." And I said, I'd love to get you to sign my book." And he goes, "Oh, I'll send you a copy." And so afterwards he did. And he wrote this really nice note. You can read it here. "Thanks for being a Sega fan, for taking the time to do Sega Bits, for keeping the spirit of the great Sega team from the 90s alive. Regards, Tom Kalinske." And Tom, he's doing well. He was in the hospital not too long ago, but he's recovering. So I was very happy to hear that. And it's just, this and the statue from Francesca, they're special items, not because it's like, oh, this is so rare, it's worth so much money, but just, you know, this is what makes it all worth it, doing all this stuff. Oh, I'm starting to cry. No, I'm just kidding. All right, moving on. Another book I wanted to pull from the shelf is the La Histoire de Sonic the Hedgehog. That was my worst French ever. This was originally French only, and then they made an English version, which I have here. But the French one I had for a while, and I would bring this to events, so I've gotten a lot of people to sign it. So let's take a look inside and see who we got. So as you can see, I have Alan Denton, who writes for Sonic Boom. Chris Tang, who was the winner of the Sonic & Knuckles Rock the Rock. We have a lot of the voice actors, so Amy, Sonic, let's see, what's this, Bill, I forgot his name, but he was a writer and he does Comedy Chimp, voice of Orbot, Cubot, Orbot, and then Tails, and then Aaron Weber, and we have Izuka, and we have, I believe this is Ted Poley, Big the Cat, he does the Big the Cat theme. I think this is Jun Sonoy. I'm blanking on his name. He also does music. I'll put it in a little subtitle down here. I'm blanking on it because I can't read that. And then Mike Pollock. And then I think that's it. But I really want to get more autographs, so I'm going to continue to bring this to events, get people to sign it. And then on this shelf we have a majority of the trade paperbacks for the Archie Sonic comics. Everything else I have the individual issues of. I'm only missing 24 of the Sonic comics as I record this, of the main series, and then I have all the other ones. It's just a shame that they stopped. They stopped so many times too, because you had the Saga series going, which started the Ian Flynn books, and then it stopped. And then you've got the Genesis one. You have the first Mega Man crossover. You have the first 2 of the 3 trade paperback issues for the second Mega Man crossover, and then that stopped. And then you have the reboot, the post issue 252 reboot there, and then that stopped because they canceled the books. And then Sonic Universe, and then that stopped. And they were going to bring it back post reboot, and they didn't. Mega Man is incomplete as well, though these are all the trade paperbacks. And then these ones just have, various issues. The Encyclopedia. I got the issue 0 reprint just because I don't like opening these books. They're just too old now. I don't want to mess them up. And then some of the super special magazines and reprints here. And then down here we have a few more Sonic books. So these are the chapter books released in the US. There were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there were 6 of them. And then there were these children's books. You can see here. And then we have the Sega coloring book, which just released. You can find that on Amazon. And then Sega 16 owner Ken Horowitz, Playing at the Next Level. I haven't read too much of this yet, but as you can see, it's a very, very thick book. I'm looking forward to reading it, definitely. And then finally, we have Not Enough Rings, which was a Kickstarter for an unofficial Sonic parody book. So if you want to take a look at that, you can see the comics online. It's kind of hard to open here, but and then the rest are Sonic Simpsons books and other things that I'm not going to get into right now. But I think that wraps it up, actually. So thanks for watching, and I will probably do some more videos in the future showing off my Game Gear stuff, showing off my Game Boy Advance games. I don't have that many of either one, but it's just I feel like I didn't show them. And maybe I'll do one of the Sonic comics I have, the actual individual issues. And if there's anything else you saw here that you want me to expand on in the comments or do a video of, let me know. Because I like doing these, and this one was long overdue. And I think I'm stretching out the ending a bit. So, thanks for watching!